Good morning, good morning, good morning. Good morning, good morning, good morning, ladies and gentlemen. Good morning. So, good morning, good morning. Let me officially welcome you to our BYOB profit call. And so, ladies and gentlemen, as you log on this line this morning, yes, as you do that this Wednesday morning, I need you to drop it in the chat where you're calling in from, along with those affirmations, guys. I want you to drop it in the chat where you're calling in from, along with those affirmations. We're about to get this call started. We'll go ahead and drop it in the chat. All right, so let's see here. Good morning, good morning. I see Cleveland. Good morning, good morning. Toledo, good morning. Good morning, Milwaukee. Good morning, Miramar. Good morning. Good morning, England. Good morning, Cleveland. Good morning, Jacksonville. Good morning, Milwaukee. Good morning, good morning, good morning. And yes, I see Covington. Good morning, good morning, good morning. Good morning, Cali. Good morning. Milwaukee again. Come on through, Milwaukee. Jacksonville. Good morning. Good morning. Good morning. And so, guys, as you log on, go ahead and drop it in the chat. Drop it in the chat where you're calling in from, along with those affirmations. Good morning, South Carolina. And so, what we want to do is we definitely want to go ahead and get this call started. I am Tasha M. Dye, the Trade Whisperer, creator of the BYOB Cash Out Strategy, guys. And we're just going to go ahead and we're going to walk in the right mindset, right? We want to begin to walk in the right mindset. And you know that mindset is I am an educated BYOB master trader anointed for wealth. I am the signal. All my trades in and profit, I am 777. And I do see you guys adding bold and confident. I am an educated, bold, and confident master trader. Bold and confident, bold and confident, bold and confident. And so you want to add the economically unbothered, right? And so we definitely want to make sure big bang frequency. Look, y'all getting me excited this morning. So we definitely want to walk in that. So we want to walk in that mindset. So we want to walk in that thought process. All right. And so now, as we dive in, I'm gonna go ahead and get my screen shared together this morning. Now, if you are new to this call, this is your first time here with us. Let me get a 111. A 111. I want you to drop that in the chat. Let me get a 111. And if you are still learning how to cash out, let me get a 222. And yes, I see you all still joining us. I see those locations. I see them. I see them. I see them. So let me do this. Keep dropping it, because it's for you, not for me. So do what y'all doing. I like it. I love it. All right. Let's go ahead and get started. So if this is your first time with us or you're new to the calls, then what we're gonna do, so you want to have an understanding, is on Monday through Thursday morning at 5 a.m. and 9 a.m. Just not 9 a.m. today, but 5 a.m. and 9 a.m. What we have is what we call our profit call, BYOB profit. Oh, I'm so tongue-tied this morning. Y'all bear with me. But it's our market talks, right? Market talks is in the evening and our profit call is in the morning. Y'all feel like support and resistance line right now. They're the same thing, but they have different functions depending on how you approach it. So the evening calls is when we're going through our training, right? The evening calls is our training, and the morning calls is when we actually go through and we implement it. So this call is designed at us implementing what we've been learning. And so what we know that we must do first is dive in here and check the news. So when we're checking the news and when we're walking through understanding the news, then we understand that the market moves from the market moves, the direction of the market is from the fundamentals. And then we do a technical analysis to take a trade. So understanding that, what we know we have this week, I mean, look at this, okay? So here we are Wednesday, and look, we got OPEC meetings, okay? That's what's actually happening today. So now also today is one of those big reports that start feeding into non-farm payroll, all right? And you see, so we have a red folder at 8:15. We got a red folder at 10 o'clock. It might be good we don't have a call because we would be trading. We wouldn't be trading. now with a red folder at 10 o'clock. So when you're looking at that, so let me jump on over here to this other one. And as you can see, like you said, at 8:15, you got the ADP employment change, right? So I want you to get in the habit, like I say, of opening these, okay? We don't run from red folders. We understand they move the market. And if we understand the red folders is what moves the market, then we want to make sure that what we're doing is analyzing, what we're doing is watching and seeing what's going on, so we understand how it impacts the market and ultimately how it's going to move the market, because this is what moves the market. And so these reports, and go back to not the last few Thursdays training, I can't remember exactly what Thursday it is, but if you go pull up the training, it'll help you with that clarity and understanding, that's actually, like what we're looking at. So it'll really help you with that and understand why it's so important that we do open these folders, that we really understand, what's happening in the market. So this is what we're doing. And then of course, when we're looking, you can see, like I said, we got a 10 o'clock report, and we also have a red folder this evening. So if you trade in the evenings, right, you want to kind of pay attention to that as well. So that's what's going on. And then of course, so today's report, we should start getting a little market activity, but the OPEC, that kind of makes you say, okay, well, will we? Because typically we can, you see, you have that all day. And then of course, actually, let's click it. So it says irregular, right? So you look, it's to coordinate, right, and unify the petroleum policies of member countries. So it's to ensure stabilization of oil markets. So guess what? Is that not important? So what impacts oil? What correlates with oil? CAD. Also, if you're trading oil, or just even if it's something, right, this is going to impact the market too. So you want to pay attention to this. So exactly. See, look, you be paying attention. You paying attention. I love it. So you definitely want to make sure. So like I said, this actually helps, as far as understanding that this is what gives the market direction. We like direction, right? If you know where you're going, you'll get there. So this gives the market direction. When the market has no direction, then, that's when it's kind of like this. Thing about it, if you don't know where you're going, you're driving in circles. And that's ultimately what the market's doing if it doesn't have any direction. And so, you want to make sure that that's where your mindset is, right? And that's you're paying attention and not running away, and that's going to help you be a more effective trader. Like, that's really going to help your consistency. That's really going to help you being able to dive into the market and actually being successful. And so now what we're going to do is we're going to actually now look at the technical aspect of this. Okay, I'm gonna move this to the side. We'll open it back up when we need it. All right, so look, blue line crossover the red and down momentum. Let's check. Let me make sure we'll have a trade. No, not yet. Let me make sure we'll have a trade before I get to explaining stuff. Okay. Now I do want you to watch this, so we'll go ahead and talk about this one first. I have a couple. Let me see, do we have a trigger here? It was actually on the harmonic scanner. So I do want you to watch this one. Now, for those of you all who are new, you want to come up here to the harmonic scanner. And when you click on it, like these are, and it already started. So that's part of what I wanted to walk you through, because they had a few that actually came through here this morning. So you just come through here and you can just like look at it and kind of grab them and see what has started to play out, what hasn't played out. Like, there's nothing with this broker. Now you see, let's see here, nothing with that broker, but there is something with this one. You just come through here and you just click on the different brokers, and that's ultimately like where you find these harmonic patterns at. That's going to really kind of, you know what I mean? That's really going to kind of help you. And so now I want to come back over here, because this is the one that I have marked, one of the ones that I pulled this morning. And so what I'm going to do is I'm actually going to put this on, and we're going to see this, and we're going to mark this up. This is what we're going to do. Now, this is something one of the things, Ms. Anderson said last night was, she was talking about the compounding, was about this will cover this many this will cover this many pips. This will cover that many pips. But, you know, and she was talking about the 10 pips and, you know, the 10 pips and cash out, you know, from that perspective, like that's what she was referencing when she was talking about that. And so I want you guys to put it in your trade plan. If you haven't watched the training about your trade plan, it's in the playlist, Trading BYOB Cash Out. So if you really haven't watched that, that'll really help you bring some clarity to understanding, because your success, you're going to have to be disciplined, right? Bold, confident, trust your analysis, but you also have to be disciplined. So like if you get in the charts and you say, you know what, I'm doing 10 pips and cash out, you know, that's what I'm looking for. That's what I'm going to do. Then if it covers 50 pips, you got to be able to walk away from it. You know, if it goes 50, you got to be able to walk away from that trade, because your trade plan, your trade journal, your discipline says, I need 10 pips. That's just like driving down the street. If I'm driving down the street, the road don't stop at my destination. The road keeps going. If I'm going down 95 and I want to go from Jacksonville to St. Augustine, guess what? It's going to keep going to Miami, to you know, what is it? The famous emphasis mile zero marker, you know, all of that. But guess what? I need to stop at St. Augustine because that's my destination. So I don't need to try to push it. I don't have directions. I haven't analyzed further than that. I haven't done any of that. So that's part of being disciplined, is saying, you know what? I'm about to go get 10 pips, or this is my compounding. This is how I'm going to do it. But if you want more than 10 pips, then, you know, make your trade plan be zone to zone. Whatever it is, your discipline is what's going to keep you. Make sure you understand where to enter the trades, all of those things. Okay. So I just kind of want to point that out this morning, that I'll pull over this and be like, oh yeah, it went 100, it went 50, it went 35, you know, and guess what? You got to be okay with those 10, because if you do it right, like, I'm not telling you to trade to only 10 pips. I'm just telling you to go make your trading plan. That's what I'm telling you. Go make your trading plan. And if your trading plan is just 10 pips and cash out, then guess what? You got to be okay with that. You got to be able to walk away from the market, and and that's where you're going to start building consistency to start compounding. All right. That's where that's going to come in. So I'm telling you, you want that discipline in trading. You want that discipline in trading. Can I stress that? All right. Because even this, you know, we would have looked at this like, oh, I'm excited. Well, guess what? Technically, we got a hook, but we don't have a crossover. So that blue line need to cross over, you know, blue line cross over and cross down. My red candle, my red line is still up. That blue line is starting to get that. It's starting. It hasn't started. It's starting, but it hasn't started. It hasn't manifested yet. It does appear that it's going to do that. Yep, it is, King. It is. So it's giving you that. And so when I come up here to my hour, you know, that's like a little hook. It's really not curving down. You see it. So this is one of the ones we're analyzing a live trade, guys. So that you see, I didn't put an arrow on here. I didn't put anything, because when you're live, I don't need it. We all looking at the same thing. We know it's nothing over here. When we're looking at historical, like if I'm looking at historical, then yes, I'm gonna come back here, I'm gonna drop arrow, I'm gonna do all of this, you know, so you got your eyes could stay with me, but no, this is live. So we're analyzing a live trade, all right? So blue line cross over the red and the downward momentum. Crossover is important. Crossover is important. I'm gonna say it again, crossover is important. And then of course, you see this red candle with a flat top, PSAR flip to the top. So we have these two. It's starting to get that crossover. I don't like how that red is pushed up. I don't like it. I'm going to still jump to my time frame confluence to walk you guys through this analysis. Now, I got a hook. You know, now, one thing I would tell you, the only one you can drop down with is GBP. That's it. Now, you can only do that if it's giving you something to say, I can drop down. So right here, being that this is hooking over and this candle is not as strong, like you look at these two obvious rejections, they did not. Now, if you don't see that, then you don't drop down. If you can't see the market talking to you about, hey, we're getting rejected right here, you don't drop down. If you can't see those things, you don't drop down. You enhance your skill set. So the market's telling me that I'm getting rejected, and you can see right here, you can see the pullback in this candle, right? You can see the pullback in this candle. Now, when I come here to my 30-minute, when I drop down, I do have a crossover and cross down on my Hikanashi, I actually have a red candle. So there's something that's beginning to manifest, all right? There is something that's beginning. And when I drop down, now you do see this. Now you obviously will want this to have a setup on my lower time frame, because that's where it's showing you that it's still flowing, right? We need the lower time frames to still be flowing. We need the lower time frames to still be, because let me show you what this shows you. So here I got my blue line cross over the red and the downward momentum. You see we got a red candle with a flat top, and I do have a PSAR right here. When that PSAR flips, that momentum has shifted, right? Because now it's breaking through that support and resistance line. You notice it hadn't flipped here. So we started some momentum, but when it flips, now you're confirming, because the PSAR flips as we push through support and resistance. So it's a what you call a dynamic support and resistance line. That's what the PSAR is. So remember, you have structure inside of structure. You got market inside of market. You have of that. So when this does flip, right, this is what I have, okay? When it flips, especially if you're using this if you're using it to confirm confluence, they're going to enter from the 15. But if you're using this to use it as a tighter entry point, and tighter entries come with market evaluation from a top-down approach. So if you want that setup, all right? So it depends on how you're entering the trade. But for the lower time frame, we'll get deeper into that, as we evaluate some training. So now what I want to do, and now look how this is turning red. So you see the setup is happening here. It is happening. Let me see. You see this 15, look at this crossover and cross down now. Now, I'm not going to tell you to enter the trade. I mean, I'm going to tell you how I'm going to walk you through it. Now you enter the trade. I mean, but look, now we got PSAR. We have all of this. Let's see my higher time frame. Now, one thing I want you to recognize, that I wouldn't be trying to push the issue right now on going more than my 10 pips. Look at my 4 hour. Don't like that. So my 4 hour, it's obvious. So what that means, let me tell you what that means. That means that my lower time frames, okay? My lower time frames, hour is not really considered a lower time frame. But from my hour on down, my hour is in a correction to my 4 hour. They're not confluent. They're not flowing together. They're not working together right now. So that's a correction. You're going to have some mixed market. So even though this is flipped, all right, even though we got a good setup on a lower time frame, this might actually pull all the way down to here. It might pull all the way down to here. Let's look at that real price. Well, we don't have a countdown part. All right, there we go. And you can see, right, let's look at that real price. When I look, this is not that far off, from real price, but it is about, let's see, that says 49, 48, right? So it's close. Remember yesterday with NASDAQ, when it looked like it was trying to pull in one direction, and that it was so mixed, and then it ended up buying. So it ended up getting its life together. But what we're looking at right here is you can see this pull down. Now, this is what I wanted to show you, because this is what we mean when we say, when you're looking at this, and what we mean when we're talking about 10 pips and cash out or first support and resistance line. Because if this is not running together, then guess what, guys? If it's not, then yeah, about that. So that means that this is gonna correct, but how far is a correction? And so GBPs obviously have more liquidity. So just know you're not trading with the direction. The swing of the market is kind of bucking against, what is happening over there. So I just want you guys to be aware of that. Now, any questions so far? Because I'm just trying to walk you through something. Any questions thus far? I want to make this make sense, because I know my 10 pips and cash out, but I also want to speak to individuals who have been trading. And I want you guys, as you starting to understand the market, I want to speak to everybody. So from a 10 pip and cash out perspective, from a foundation perspective, let's see here. I got my 15-minute blue line cross over the red candle with a flat top, PSAR flip, go up to the hour. You see where I have the hook. I have my I got my red candle where you see the drawback happening. Based on this, I can drop down to the 30. I go to the 30. It's in alignment. You see where my stochastic is starting to come down. I do have a red candle. I flip down. I'm still selling. right? We got a little, look, it's our, that's a new 5-minute candle. So let me go down a little bit more. Okay, so we're still selling. So you see all of that, right? Good trade, good opportunity. But how, where I also want you, especially in these market conditions, okay? This is what makes a difference, right? In a trendy market, that's a solid trade. It's a solid trade right now. In a trendy market, right? That's a trade. You drop it in, you walk away from, like you don't have no thoughts else about it. Like, I know my trade in and profit. That's it. Like, I could take that trade and I know my trade in and profit, But when you have days like, this is why it's important to understand the fundamentals. Because when you have days like this, where you got OPEC, where we got ADP coming up at 8:15, where we got NFP on Friday, where we got Afghanistan, a political impact. When we have that, this is what separates you. Okay, this is where you separate people, because this is where you separate traders. Because if this pulls back or anything, then you understand why. So this is where you make a decision. Do I take that trade or I don't take that trade, right? This is where you make a decision. Is this worth it, right? This is where that trade plan, this is why understanding the fundamentals is so important. Because right here, I got my stochastic hook on my hour. You can see where I'm up here around the 80. It had been buying. I come to my 4-hour, brand new 4-hour candle, and we'll look at that. Look at the curve right here. Look at the candle, and then I put the trend line on here. You see it bounced off the trend line. You see where we are. So even if I was going to take a sell, right? I said even if I would have, you want to be mindful of this trend line, right? So we see the 4-hour is bouncing off of there, but look at where I am right here. So look at where I am right here. So on my 4-hour, what you're seeing, I like to make this big so you guys can see what you're seeing. This is where, can y'all work with me, please? This is where what you're seeing in the market, like that sale, this is that sale. This is that sale. That's the sale, right? Watch this. That's the sale, right? See that? So what is it doing? It's rejecting off of the resistance line. That's what it's doing. And you see the sale? That's the rejection. So now you see it? You guys see it? So that's what you're seeing in that 4-hour candle, right? You see it. Yay. So now, and let me ask you again. When you understand, you start doing a higher analysis, is a trade worth it? Would you take the trade? Would you take the trade? Okay, I gotta know. Anyone else? I gotta know. I got 2 traders up this morning, just 2. All of y'all on this call, it's only 2 traders. So what opportunity did you think you had on here? So this is where, if you guys trade HFX, guess what you had? You had an HFX trade, right? You had okay, I got one more trader. The excuse eraser. So, right, that's where those trades come in. This is where those types of trades come in. So when you see somebody, a super scalper, that's where they live. And that's why I'm always like, okay, super scalper, right? So because you can see it. You can see it. Now, let's go ahead, and I want to look a little deeper, all right? Because this is the analysis. So the harmonic scanner did call this for a sell. All right, it did call this for a sale. And so, you just got to wait for it to manifest. So now, and if it doesn't, right, it's going to be, so let me do this. I'm going to move this up. Y'all know I'm not leaving that right there. I'm bringing this up to the market. Now, why is that? Because this is based on Fibonacci's, right? It's all based on Fibs. And so what I'm gonna do is I'm gonna bring that up. And now this triggered for a sale, but you notice that the first take profit, that's those yellow lines. So once again, we don't blindly take it. We just understand how to take it. Like we use it, we go grab to the harmonic scanner, we grab the information, we bring it back over here, and we began to analyze it because it already obviously started, from where we're at. Now, you notice that, like I said, this had been in an up channel. Like, actually, I haven't, you guys, I still use these things. I know we don't always put everything on here. But I want you, I'm doing it because I kind of want you guys to really kind of I want you guys to like really see this market. And what you're kind of looking at is a channel. I was just trying to get it in a good spot. Can y'all see these lines? Are they a good color? Like, I don't know. The channels help? Good. I just didn't want it the same color as what you call them. Okay, so you can't see it. I'll leave it there then. All right. So you can definitely see how the market moves within these channels. And so what it looks like is it's testing this line. So what it's doing is it's testing this area. So even when you get the information, like even when you get it, you still want to kind of bring it in here and come analyze it, because in order for us to have a sale, we have to break out of this, which means it'll break it, it'll retest it, and then it'll come down. Unless like something happens with one of those reports and it skyrockets, right? That's what'll happen. We just have to see how the report comes out. So if the reports come out, where the USD like is weaker, then what's going to happen is we're just going to continue with our movement and all of this will come out of correction. If these reports, so that'll be against what the harmonic scanner identified. But there is a harmonic pattern in here, and that's why this has pulled down. Like, that's why this is here, but you got to let this finish correcting, right? So it's a mixed market right now because of what we put out there, but I don't need you guys just jumping in a trade just to say you take a trade. All right. Now, you might have got 10 pips out of this. You might not have, but we also need to take into consideration our pip reaction time. Now, look at this. Look how this is starting to pull up here, right? Look at how this is starting to react. So now look at what's happening. So when I tell you guys, don't take the trade, don't take the trade. You see how this is that wick area, and you see where this is pulling up. So that's this a live trade analysis. That's what we're doing. Evaluate the live trade. So is this helping anybody? Because I know we normally go back and we kind of shifted it a little bit, but we always kind of go back. But you guys got to know how to get in those trades when you're by yourself. Because honestly, to be honest with you, that's your pip reaction time right there, right? So if you had pressed this button, then guess what? You still in the hole. If you had pressed this button, you in the hole, right? You in the hole. So I want you guys, with these market conditions right now, I really want you guys to really begin to understand, how the market moves, how it works, and to be able to take these trades effectively. All right. So let's come over here and let's evaluate another one. And we'll look at, I want to do any of the ones I have match my trigger. Do the triggers match any one of the ones I have? I'm going to get it together this morning. Well, anything with USD right now is going to kind of be the same. That's not the one I'm going to evaluate. But just to kind of show you like that trigger for a sale, if I come up here, y'all see I had to restart my computer. Everything is off. If I come up here, that trigger, I'm sorry. Let's say a sale, that's trigger for a buy. And if I come over here and I'm looking, right, you can see this one is actually in more alignment. Let's go look at it. But it's a USD. I wanted to kind of get away from that, but let's look at it. Let us evaluate. And where my 15-minute go? All right, so this triggered, okay. Let's put the, it's gonna be right around here. Why is the default color blue? Like whose idea was that? I can't even see it, much less you all. So 18155. All right, so we put this right here. All right, let's see that. Now I want to come up to my 30. So that's where that goes. I want to come up to my 30. You can definitely see that that's a valid trigger. I understand it didn't happen in the last 5 minutes. I know that. I got that. I understand that it happened. It's been a minute. We see we just got some more that just came in. Actually, Euro JPY is one of mine too. So let me make sure. We'll do that one next because that is one of my triggers. Just writing down the numbers because y'all know this thing will flash out sometimes if it falls off where it's not a valid trigger anymore. So I wanted to write it down so we could evaluate it and you guys can see what triggered it. All right, so valid trigger, okay? Now come up here to my 30. Now, my hour, so we already did the 30. So we saw the trigger happen. Then we come to my 30 for my confluence. You see it's buying, okay? I do see it's buying. Now this is when, we started here on the 5. So if I drop down to the 3 minute, you definitely can see. Now this is what I mean entry point, right? You see how now this actually was in that correction and really just pulled back to correct. Now you see that blue line cross over the red and that upward momentum. I got a green candle with a flat bottom, PSAR flip. This PSAR means it's trying to break through this resistance point right here, okay? That's ultimately what that means. So now when I come up here, I want to do my step 3, which is my identify where I am in the market. Now, when I identify where I am in the market, you can see that this hour candle, right? We're sitting here with a new hour candle. Guys, if you got questions as we go through this, ask your questions. So we're sitting here with this new hour candle and that's buying. Look at my 4 hour, that's a new 4 hour candle. You see when that hook begins to begin right there. So we're in a pretty good position. When I'm looking at this, I'm gonna drop this psychological level on here so you can see where this market look like it's gonna close out, right? So you can definitely kind of see where we are. You got your midpoint up in here somewhere. So right up and about right here, this is our midpoint right here. All right, so you want to pay attention to that midpoint as well. So let me put this, now you notice that psychological, all I'm doing, oh, look at that. So all I'm doing is really just going by the numbers. I didn't look at the market. I did not do that. I just looked at the numbers for my psychological level. And now look at how the market reacts and respects that. So you definitely can see, where we are. And so even if I put the other one on here, okay, so you see how you got to combine the tools based on what you're seeing, like combine the things, how we evaluate, but what does not change? BYOB cash out strategy, it never changes. So now you can see where this reacted to this psychological level, right? Psychological level. And that's what you see with this currency right now. Now, if I come here, I'm gonna squish the chart up a little bit just so you can see the trend is your friend. I'm just trying to get you guys to kind of see. So we definitely have a trend right here. Let me clone this. And we also have a channel, right? Once again, another channel that you guys are seeing. And you see the market is reacting with inside of that channel. All right, so all of this came from a 5-minute trigger. All of that came from a 5-minute trigger. Any questions? Are you guys with me? All of that come from a 5-minute trigger. Now, you can see the correlation with the hook and the indecisive. Good stuff. Good. That indecisive candle. So now you see how the market is reacting off of here. Come on up here to my 4 hour, right? You see where you see where it's reacting from here. That's a new 4 hour candle. And so that's a strong trigger. That's strong. So obviously we're reacting here. We might get a little pullback in there. You see it's trying to break through. Look at how this is trying to get some more curve. We got 30 seconds. Let's see what happens. 30 seconds. Let's see what happens. Now, while we're waiting, can you see like what the market's doing on the higher time frame? Do you know where you are in the market? Can you answer any of those questions from this viewpoint? No, you can't. You can't. You cannot. And that's why it's important to see high and see low. And look at what's happening. Now you guys see, look at that. Look at there. So now you see when I say that PSAR flip, that kind of give it like that. That's that that push. Let me drop down. So now you see it's got a little pullback. So it's going to break through there and then it's going to retest this a little bit. It's going to break through there. Now you see this is what my lower time frames are for. This is what my lower time frames are for. They're not for you to go in. Every time you look at the candles and look at the chart, every single time you look at it, just know you're looking at it from a different viewpoint. That's it. It's the same market. This price is not changing based on what time frame I'm on. See, it's the same price. It's the same price. It's the same price. So it's the same market. You're looking at the same market. The same market. You're just looking at the market from a different viewpoint. All right. That's it. That's it. So you see that move through. Questions, comments, questions, comments. Look how solid that is on the 3 minute. Questions, comments, testimonies. That means everybody's ready to go take these trades right now. We can go we dive in and we go get it, right? Everybody is ready to go jump in and take these trades, right? What? Okay. Once again, the same thing we did over here. Same thing we did over here, right? Same thing. Let's do it right here. Let's do it right here. Because the question is will we wait on until the 4 hour breaks the line? Remember, this is one candle for 4 hours, okay? So let me mark this up. Right, I'm gonna mark that right there. You see that right there? All right, you see that right there? Now, when I come here, I drop down to my hour, right? That's a wick on the 4 hours. So you're looking at it like it's a wick. Remember, these are Hikanashi candles, not Japanese candles, okay? So just to kind of help you understand the difference, look at the candle, right? That's a Japanese candle. That's a Japanese candle, right? That's a Japanese candle, okay? You see, right? So I'm going to switch it back to my Hikanashi candles, which are my trend candles. Now, in that wick, what do you see, right? In that wick, what do you see? What is it you see inside of that wick? This is where, and this is where all of that happens. Now, remember, I told you, what does the market do? When it breaks it, it comes back. So I didn't say jump in. I'm showing you how it moves. When it breaks it, it pulls back. And that's what it's doing right now. So it broke it, it went up, and then it pulls back. So it's not about waiting for the 4 hour. The 4 hour is showing you that we're curving. Like this 4 hour is bouncing off of here. So now what you're getting is all of this is that bounce off of there on that 4 hour. This is what all of that is. It bounced off of there. And now what you're seeing, let me thin this out some. What you're seeing is this is that wick, but now you're seeing the reaction to this attempting to break through. Yes, it's going to react to this resistance line as well. So when you see that, like I said, it comes up, it bounces off, it breaks through, and it pulls back. That's why we were waiting on that PSAR for a tighter entry, right? So you can see where this is. Now look, you see how it's retesting? Look how strong that is when I come down here on a minute. And now look at how, so we'll get it at 13 seconds, okay? Let's watch what happens with the next one, all right? So it's just a different viewpoint. The lower time frames is how you enter the market. The lower time frames is how you analyze. See, I tell you, the lower time frame is how you enter the market. The lower time frames is how you see all the activity. The higher time frames is how you see the direction. However, I'm still not ready because my stochastic still pointed down. Still not ready. Stochastic just pointed down. So with the PSAR flip, will it determine how the market will move above the support line or pull back in relation to support and resistance? No. So will it determine how the market will move? Now, what a PSAR flip is, right? A PSAR is a dynamic support and resistance line, right? That's what it is. It is a dynamic. It's what you call a parabolic stop and reversal. So it acts as a trailing stop loss. So it kind of helps you understand the resistance that's in the market or what's going on in the market. So notice that, support and resistance is one of those areas of value, right? And when you're talking about trading. So you notice that, like, let me, just for the sake, we're walking through these trades. And just for the sake of understanding from a training perspective, if you look, you know, I'm gonna put this on here. Like, let me just drop a support and resistance line right here. We're not gonna let it be blue, even though we're training. All right, we'll make it, let's make it orange. So you can see you got one here, right? You got a support and resistance line right here. You got many support and resistance lines that you begin to see. That's it. I could mark this thing up from, it'll be so colorful, right? It'll be a work of art and a masterpiece. We'll have lines everywhere. But what I want you to see is this is what you call a support and resistance line, okay? These horizontal lines, support and resistance, support and resistance. That's what you call these, okay? And with support and resistance, you can see how the market reacts to them. Now, the PSAR is the same thing. It's a dynamic support and resistance. That's what this is. So it basically flows with the market. This is where a stop loss is always outside of it. Because if I'm trading, if I'm zone to zone, this is where my stop loss and everything. It doesn't go on it, it goes above it. Same thing with the PSAR. It doesn't go on it, it goes above it. So if you notice that as this is moving and you can kind of see how the market is moving, when this PSAR flips, let's look at this one right here. All right. When this PSAR flips right there, you can see, right, how we had wicks and everything. But when it really started moving is when I got, the PSAR had already flipped, but you can kind of see, I was looking for one that have it, but you can see that the PSAR is when the momentum started, and that flat top is when they both are in alignment, you can see where it starts pushing through. So even right here, all right, notice that when my PSAR, I got a PSAR flip, and when I have the flat bottom candle and the PSAR, look at how it's breaking through that support line. It's breaking through. So it already was playing on top of it, and now it's breaking through there. So when I want that tighter entry, I go down and I'm looking, and that's like even this one. Look when this PSAR flipped. Look at how this, you see how it was playing on the line? It kind of broke it a little bit. When did my momentum start? Flat bottom and a PSAR. All right. So it's not, that's not what determines how support and resistance never determine the direction of the market. Ever. Don't ever, no, never. What they do is help you understand the where the market is going to react. Just like, okay, you got a GPS. Your GPS is here and you're a stochastic, right? My GPS is here, right? This is my GPS. Then you run up on a stop sign. Does a stop sign tell you where you're going? Or does a stop sign tell you to respect the market, to respect the road? So it's not about it telling you, you know what I mean? Does that make sense? Hopefully I'm answering your question to where you understand what I'm saying. So does that make sense? Okay, awesome. So yeah, the support and resistance, all of that, the PSAR, all of that, you know, so the PSAR is basically telling you, because it's a support and resistance line, it's basically like, hey, respect the road. So my stochastic is like my GPS. This is like telling you, hey, you got to respect the road. That's what these stop signs are. Okay. And you see, it respects the road. Hey, I forgot something. I'm going to turn around and go back home. But my GPS had already told me to go back home. My GPS had already told me to turn around. So, you know, that's what it is. So, and that's why the market structure is so important. I mean, think about it. The market structure is the role player. The market structure is the role plan, right? So I can't just come through here and make a new street. You can tear my car up, right? We don't want to tear our trade account up. We don't want to do that. So pay attention to the roads. You know, you got to pay attention to the roads. That's what my market structure is. This is my GPS, right? So you just, you know what I mean? So, and all of these are my street signs. So hopefully, you know, I told you how you do one thing is how you do everything. So look, we got a good 2 trade analysis, a good 2. Let's look at this real quick. I wouldn't trade it right now, but we're going to look at it. We're going to wait. All right. So as I look here, okay, trigger for a sale at the top of the call, trigger for a sale 5 minutes ago. We're about to have to jump off. If I got time after I do this, we'll go look at it. You know, we got to end about 10 minutes, and the day is picture day. So I normally don't have to do hair in the morning, but before we get out of here, I got to do that too. So probably too much information, but that's my life. That's my morning. So now if you look at the hour, right, you can see where the sale is happening. Like you can see where, you know, like, so I can still start my trigger from up here and do step 3 first, which is identify where I am in the market. That's a strong buy. This one started right here, okay? I want you guys to kind of see what's happening with the indices. However, look at all this rejection that's happening, okay? Pay attention, same thing. Look at all this rejection that we have going on. So it triggered for a sell, which makes sense. So if I'm dropped down to my 15, you can see that sell. Drop down to my 5, I can see that sell. You know, where it made sense from over at the top of the hour. However, I'm oversold, right? It hasn't been much movement, much activity. This one just triggered, which is right up in here. Okay, we just got this trigger right up in here, you know, and you definitely can see how, you know, it's rejecting off of that area. So a sell makes absolute sense. So you might, I mean, look, even on my 30-minute, I got a PSR flip now. Look at how that's pulling down. You know, look what's happening with my hour. That's some nice rejection right there. That's some nice rejection. So even this, based on what we talked about, look at how this one is trying to break through. You see, based on what we just talked about on the other currency right there. So you can definitely kind of see what we are, right? Actually, so, right, you guys, and I want to pay attention to what the market, like, let's pay attention to the market. So, and actually, this one is kind of close to, what you call them, a psych level. Right? So let's make it blue. Let's mark it up. Right? So you can definitely see. And then of course, you know, you want to pay attention to the midpoint that's right here. So this that mid psych level right here. So we want to pay attention to these zones, okay? So definitely pay attention to that, because this is gonna it should, let me say should. Let me not say, oh, it's gonna have movement, right? Why is OPEC today? So it should kind of give you some movement around that time. So you asked about UJ is actually one of the ones. Anything specific? Anything specific? Super Mom Day. Yes. Thank you. Appreciate that. All right. So this is actually one that we have marked up for identified for a sale on the harmonic scanner. I mean, that's been in a strong buy. But we are coming up on a point of rejection, right? We are coming up. Let's mark this psych level right here. That's where the psych level is. Let's bring this down a little bit. All right, so you can kind of see, but you look at kind of right here too, okay? So once again, and I'm marking this one just because I want you to see that it's kind of in that zone. Like it's still in that zone. I don't want you to feel like it's not in that zone, because it is, you know. So, but I mean, technically I could have, you know, I could probably bring this down to the right here, right? Yeah, there's a lot of liquidity in it. Let's see here. So actually, you know what? There's JP, what you call them. So this is what I would call micro, because look, this is JPY, and I'm just looking at the zeros, trying to walk you guys through this really quickly. But really on this one, I'm gonna just make this one orange because I don't want to focus on the minis, you know. But I do want you to see, so that halfway, I do want you guys to kind of see right up in there. So if I put this where the zeros are all behind it, you can kind of see what I'm talking about right here. All right. So now when you're seeing a rejection, right, that's happening right here, like I say, this trigger for a sell. And you can definitely see where it's actually rejecting off of that line, but you still want to pay attention, right? We still want to pay attention. We want to pay attention because that 4 hour is still in that buy. That strong is definitely rejecting. When I look at here, let me drop those lines on here really quickly, and then we're gonna go. And Miss Brownlee, if you want to close us out this morning, I know I got my excuse eraser on. In just a second, if you want to, because I know I'm kind of calling you out right now. It's normally not till 9, but you know we don't have a 9. So still want y'all to have a blessed and prosperous day. Get our BYOB prayer warrior. One thing I know is this movement gonna be prayed over. This movement is gonna be blessed. This movement, if don't nothing else happen, we some blessed people. I know that. So you can see the yellow lines is where, you know, it I marked it up. Now I would be very cautious if you do end up with a trade. Now, once again, it's got USD in it, but I would be very cautious with a trade past that point. Look at how raggedy this look, right? Pay attention to what the street look like. So what is this? This look like a road with a lot of potholes, right? That's what this looks like, a street with a whole bunch of potholes. So I would definitely pay attention, you know, if this does turn and you start trading and you come down here. Things like this, I'm not trying to touch, not near here. It's too many potholes. I like smooth trades, okay? So once again, my 4 hours starting to get that little curve on it. You know, it's still a 4 hour candle where it has more body than the last one already. But you can see where this is. I would definitely allow a little bit more alignment before I try to take a trade on this one. All right, you can see where it's definitely on the 15. I don't get to drop down on my confluence on this one. So you'll see what happens after the 6 o'clock hour and see if you get a little movement. But once again, don't forget that USD news is gonna hit. Today is Friday is gonna be is strong for it, but today feeds into Friday. So the report today feeds into Friday, and it's obviously going to have a lot of impact on the a lot of impact on the USD, which has impact on the market in its totality. All right. So, okay, Miss Brownlee, did I call you on the spot? Are you available to close us out this morning?
I'm ready. I will do so. Thank you so much. You are so powerful. Great morning, God. This is your day, and we are your children. Show us your way, for your commandments are not grievous to us, and we delight to do your will, God. You said if we delight in you, you will give us the desires of our hearts. And our heart's desire is to please you. Our heart's desire is to keep a smile on your face, God. And you made it clear in your word that when we walk up right before you, no good thing will you withhold from us. And this be your own bank movement is a mighty good thing. This year of transformation is a mighty good thing. And our dynamic dream team is a mighty good thing. And we are indeed thankful, appreciative, and grateful for Mr. Rogers, Miss Dyer, Dr. Bythewood, the second generation of educators, Ms. Anderson, Ms. Brantley, Ms. Perry, Mr. Sims, and Pastor Washington, and every generation to follow. We thank you in advance for our BYOB Academy, God. And we ask that you would anoint each and every one of us to reach out to the next million households, God, that will be impacted, empowered, and educated by March 28, 2022. As we are on have your own way as we go in our day. Oh God, we ask that you have your way in our midst, and we'll be so careful to bless your holy and righteous name. In Jesus' name we thank you. Amen, and thank God. And this officially ends this prophet call, and we are going to go our day rejoicing, through this day rejoicing in prosperity and abundance and wealth. We'll meet you tonight at 9 o'clock. God bless you. Amen.